Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today we are a little bit early and General Shankar joins us. General Shankar, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Thanks a lot, sir, and happy to join you a little early. And as you can all see, I'm not in Chennai. I'm out. So please start.
Wonderful, sir. Viewers, we are going to be not only talking about Iran, but its neighborhood also, because things that are happening in Iran have a way of spilling over into the neighboring Balochistan region. So that's also going to be covered today. Iran is doing something that which is par for the course. If you remember, General Shankar, every time the Taliban used to come to Qatar for talks with the United States, I'm talking about the first term of Trump. Every time they would try, what they would try is just before the talk, there will be some skirmish where some people will die and Taliban would claim victory. And then they'll go and sit at the table. Their thinking was that would give them an edge in their talks. What happened was United States wised up to that very quickly. And what they would do is they had good intel on Taliban and they would smoke out all these things even before they thought of doing it. And they started complaining in the talks. Oh, you are being very aggressive at us. You see what I'm saying? I see the same playbook now between Iran and Iran and United States. By the way, when Xi Jinping used to invite Modi for talks or used to come to India for talk, he used to do the same thing. China would do some mischief to India and then they'll come and sit down for talk. If you remember, and India did the same thing when Jaishankar went to Beijing, I think a year ago or something. China didn't like it. Hey, you do it, it's okay, but if you get the same thing back, it's not okay. How is this military diplomacy? What happens here, sir? I leave it to you. I mean, you know this stuff like the back of your hand. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining at an early time today.
No, thanks a lot, sir. Look, it's a normal tactic. It's happening even today in Russia-Ukraine war. Whenever there's a talk happening, there'll be an attack by Russia or Ukraine. In this case, the talks are to start. It's still, Iran is saying we want to talk in Oman and not in Istanbul. US says talk in Istanbul. US is saying, look, you want everyone else to be joining in the talks. And Iran says, no, I want a one-to-one talk with you. They don't want other regional actors to come in. Right, and they want to keep Turkey out of the equation. Because Turkey has a nasty habit of poking its nose into everyone's affairs. So all these dynamics are at play, and like Iran, what it has done, it's flown a drone near one of the US ships, their aircraft carrier, and that's been knocked off predictably. But it's a signal. These are all signals. Look, I'm alive. It's not that I'm going to come to you, crawling to say, please help me out of this thing. To show that, look, I have capabilities, and especially the targeting of I won't say targeting, they're going towards the carrier. It's a message. It's a message, one, to USA that I can hit you, be on the defensive. However little, whatever you might have, you're also vulnerable. That's the first thing. And the second thing is it's a message to others in the region. See, you have to understand how Iran is playing this game. How is Iran avoiding war? Iran is avoiding war simply by saying, I'll attack your carrier and kill it. That's for publicity. But more importantly, Iran has told Qatar, it has told Saudis, it has told UAE, it has told everyone there, you help the Americans, I will sort you out. Very simple. I have missiles to sort you out, and they have missiles to sort them out. So, there's no guarantee that they can't get hit. And if one of them has a nuclear tip, which you don't know whether Iran has or not, if he has a dirty bomb, well, all the best to all these fellows. So the point is, Iran still has cards which it can play, and it's conveying it in unambiguous terms to USA before the nuclear deal, the talks start. So I think Iran is playing a smart game. And I must also tell you this. I way back when I was a captain, I was called to give a presentation to be given to all officers, including the then GOC. I was a captain with about 3.5 years service on the Iran-Iraq war at that point of time, and by then Iraq had captured almost one third of Iran, and everyone felt that Iran is going to collapse. And in my great wisdom, in those days we didn't have net, with great, and that too in Binaguri, where hardly used to be light those days. So went around, collected some information from time, this, that, and all that, and gave a presentation where I said, look, Iraq is winning and Iran is loose and all that. So my GOC was there, and he listened to whatever I had to say. Young officer, why? Then after that, uh, comment, discussion, everything went. After that, the interesting part was he said, "Don't think this deal is done. Don't think Iraq is won over Iran. Just see the outcome. Iran is a very tough nation." And sure enough, that war went on for the next 8 years. Okay. Iran is used to playing the long game. And this was just after the revolution. I'm talking of 81, 82, right? 79, the revolution took place, right? So just think a nation which has gone into a revolution, everything is shaken up. This Ayatollah Khomeini was there, and all that. Weak, yet it absorbed a war and continued it for 8 years. So Iran is a pretty tough nation. Let's not think it's going to keel over. So that is what I see today also. When I talk of Iran, I have that always in the back of my mind. So Iran is playing its toughness out, right? And so it will do that. I mean, it's part, that's the first part. The second part is by now it has realized that what Trump is aiming clearly. And that is why they've started talking nuclear terms. Is look, I want to avoid war, I should talk nuclear with Trump. No problems. But I can't talk completely from being. I have to go on the front foot, and if not on the front foot, at least play from the crease. So I have to do something else. And they also see an opportunity here that if I can get a deal with Trump, my republic is saved, my rule is saved, okay, and I get oil onto the market. They also realize that China has let them down, Russia has also let them down. So both these things, all these issues are involved in what's happening there. And hence, they are okay for the talks. They're also okay for the talks. They're also doing this. So look at it from Iran. And, surprisingly, they are able to handle the bad economic situation. I checked up today morning. Earlier, it was $1, you could get 1.5 million riyal, gone to 1.6 almost. I mean, last 2, 3 days. It's not fallen. Economically, it's not stable. Iran is still not stable economically. So, if the second stage of instability comes in and the prices shoot up and all, then the ball game is completely different. Brute power, complete brute power. It doesn't matter who gets killed. So, Iran is in a mess. It's weak. It knows. There's an issue of regime survival. It knows that. They want to, and I'm sure they have some of nuclear material somewhere stashed away, and they'll use it. So I think this sums up what Iran's strategy is. US at this point of time has to play along. Trump might look tough, but I wouldn't say been end played, but the fact is that Trump doesn't have a very strong hand unless he goes, you know, kinetic, right? And he wants to get people on the table and out of the deal. And he's looking for a deal because he's now got the India deal in his pocket. Look at what Trump is doing. I mean, again, I say what's Trump's aim? Midterms. He's got Venezuela in his pocket. He's got Russia, India thing. Greenland is going satisfactorily. Russia is under control. I wouldn't say it's gone out, not out of control. And here, of course, you have this Iran. If he takes Iran to, or get a deal out of Iran, he's home and free. So this is what my view is. Any questions, we can handle it. Your views.
Thank you, General Shankar. Let's go back to the time when you had your first talk about Iran-Iraq war. If I remember correctly, US was actually funding Iraq to go and fight Iran.
Yeah.
And Iran was, at that point of time, they were actually sending teenagers to go fight the front lines. At least this is the story I read. I was a student in India at that time. They were saying, oh, they are being put to, they are, mortgaging their future for this and all that. But after 7-8 years, how did that war stop? Because I don't see any loss of ground or area for Iran. Iran is what it was even before 1979.
Look, that war stopped out of exhaustion.
Okay.
Right? That's the first thing. And the funny part in that war was the Britishers and the Americans were selling arms to both sides. So were Russians. Okay. So that was more of a contrived thing. And a war, when any one side got certain amount of ammunition from somewhere, they used to go on an offensive and finish off and wait. And when the other side got some arms and they would counterattack. That's the way it went. And that, it's a very dirty. Those days you're talking of colonialism, the colonial hangover had not gone. A lot of weapons were tried out in this war, including chemical weapons. Right? The Britishers gave chemical weapons to Iraqis then. And so it's a desultory war. At the end of the day, everyone said, forget about it, and it came to that. There was no treaty, no nothing. It was very clearly brought out that Iraq didn't have the capability to take over Iran. Neither did Iran have the capability to enter Iran. It went like that. That's about all. But 8 years of war. The interesting thing is, through this 8 years, the Islamic Republic firmed itself in. The IRGC has its roots there. And in those 8 years, he died. I think he died out of cancer or something like that. And 𝗂𝗓𝗍 took over. And 𝗂𝗓𝗍 made his mark to take Iran through that war. So that's the large overview of what it is. I'm going into all this because it's easy to talk of today's what's happening. One has to have a historical background to this whole story. And even more interesting, before this war, during the Shah's time, Iran and Israel were great friends.
Oh yeah. Israel was one of the first countries to recognize Iran. Yeah.
And Iran and Israel were thinking of an oil pipeline at that time around through the Red Sea route to Israel.
Right.
Okay. And at that time, there was a great Sunni-Shia divide. All the Gulf countries didn't like Iran. And that is why, and Iraq itself, Iraq is a Shia country, Shia population. It was ruled by a Sunni elite of the Ba'ath Party. And the Ba'ath Party was transnational. It would spread, it had its roots in Syria. It had some influence in the peninsula also, the Arabian Peninsula also, definitely in Lebanon. So there are a lot of currents of that time, right? But then things have changed. We are where we are. Yours, all yours now.
So let's take a look forward now. General Shankar, you and I discussed, I think, a couple of episodes back about Iran's black market for cheap refined petroleum. And I did some math and I actually put out a monologue showing the numbers. Sir, it's 5% of the market price. Whatever we are paying at the retail pump, Iranians are able to pump at 5%. That means there's a big room, 95%. I'll even say that they only take 25% of the cut, 25% of that malai, and the others are given to the distribution, like for example Afghanistan and Pakistan. The numbers start building up. The calculations are about $45 to $50 billion a year. And this guy, Fazlur Rahman, Maulana Fazlur Rahman is called Maulana Diesel. We all know why. So what I'm trying to say is, if there is a deal made between US and Iran, if Iran needs to mainstream its petroleum products, then I don't think it can afford to give this kind of an incentive for its own populace, subsidies for its own populace. How do you see that part working out? Will the populace be agreed saying that, okay, we will pay market prices for petrol now? What do you think will happen?
Nothing will happen. Iran is quite comfortable with what's happening at this point of time, right? This gives, see, why is Iran doing all this? The Iran is doing all this because that keeps, that border trade going. And if the border trade keeps going, they have links either side of Pakistan and into Afghanistan. It keeps the border stable, right? So I don't think Iran is going to bother too much about it. That's the first thing. And Iran is definitely not going to take the subsidy off, right? If they take the subsidy off,
they're going to just pump more oil then. They're just going to pump more oil.
Yeah. They'll go pump. See, all this depends on how the trade, how the deal comes out. And if Iran oil comes into the market, what's going into Afghanistan and Balochistan is peanuts, right? So they'll get more money, which means they can subsidize even more. So I expect the subsidy, because you see, Iran's economy is not good. There's no question of taking any subsidy off. If the subsidy is taken off and the oil price goes up, or the petrol pump, the pump price goes up, whether it's diesel or petrol, the average Iranian will get hit, and then the whole thing will go into tailspin. So they'll not do. And look, please understand, all this is doing a great deal. Like I told you, it stabilizes the border. Why are they allowing this to happen? It stabilizes the border. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you see, this has a connection with Balochistan. I mean, there is a view that all ongoing in Balochistan could be, I wouldn't say funded, but supported by Iran. Iran might be playing an indirect hand by ensuring that the BLA is well kitted, everything, all that, and they're keeping Pakistan on the back foot in Balochistan. Because if Balochistan is unstable, USA doesn't get a foothold there. If USA doesn't get a foothold, US options to go into Iran are reduced. I mean, very simple.
From its eastern border, yeah.
Eastern border. See, Pakistan has got the Samungli airbase, Shamsi and Pasni, from where and these are all within good reach, easy reach of Iran from the east, right? And if Americans start operating from there, if tomorrow kinetic things happens, they need it. Now, if they have to operate from there, right, these bases have to be in safe places. It's just not that aircraft operating off a base. That base has to be recycled in terms of ammunition, stock, and all that. To some extent, something would have happened already. But the BLA attack of Herat, which is going on, mind you, today is the 4th day there, has put Pakistan completely off the rails. If you go into the Twitter or social media or even mainstream media, it's all about Balochistan today in Pakistan and how Balochistan and that BLA is sorting out Pakistan army. And what's the instability? With this kind of instability, they're not only saying don't, it's not a matter of minds and all that. The other things are also coming in. So it's all mixed. So what is happening in Pakistan has a bearing on Iran. And I don't think anyone is missing this point. though it doesn't get discussed that way. But the way I look at it, Iran could have a hand in, helping BLA out. Yeah, your view.
Janesh Shankar, so let's continue that thought about subsidizing oil. So you think that just like what happened in Venezuela, the cheap supply of petroleum to China, that will definitely be cut off by US, don't you think?
Yeah, that is the aim.
Okay, well then let me just follow up with a question. Okay, you finish your thoughts, sir. I'll have the question after that. Sorry.
See, no, I'm not this thing. The thing is, they're getting each liter, each barrel of oil at about, I think, not more than $30. So
Right.
Russia is a whole story, right? That's how it is. Yeah.
So
China is having a field day in this story. Yeah.
So if they stop giving oil to China, and US says, well, you need to buy for you need to pay for Iranian oil in US dollars. I mean, like what they've done in Venezuela. China needs to do something. I mean, it can't just like that take things lying down. It has invested a lot in Iran. Of course, one can make the argument that they give 1/3 the price for the oil that Iran sells, and they sell, this is your words, they sell their arms and armaments for 3 times the price.
They normal Chinese way.
My question, sir, is do you think as part of this deal, America might even say, look, stop buying the stuff from China, we will give it to you?
I don't think it will go to that level. I don't think US will ever give arms to Iran. But it will like to choke off Chinese oil, right? And China, it puts China under tremendous pressure. They have to now pay. And, people talk of Chinese arms and all. I have a different view. Let me spend some time on. China might be selling arms. Those people who have no other way of, think they'll buy Chinese arms because it's cheap, right? It's still cheaper than you can buy from any other source. Okay, the Western source. So I don't think, and China has got no other way. If that goes and China can't get cheap oil, China is at a discount. I mean, China itself is in a problem. And at this point of time, China can do very little. I keep saying, and in fact, tomorrow we can discuss this. In fact, if you say tomorrow morning, we'll discuss the situation in China. The situation in China.
Let's do that. Yeah.
It's critical. It's going very, very critical. I see from all the articles which are coming and the kind of propaganda which is coming out of PLA daily and this thing. The thing is, in China is highly unstable, and this instability will not go. It will not go in a hurry. Right? So I think China has got very little cards to play. You see, we blow up China. Oh, China can do this, China can do that, and all. Yeah, that's the story we've been all fed. That's the propaganda which is in our head. Okay, so we have to put China in its right slot. I mean, look at it from our point of view. I mean, look at it. I'll translate the Chinese situation into India. One small book, something was written by a chief, and that's not published. Everything for the past 2 days, everyone in India talks about what's happening in Lok Sabha only. No other thing comes up. Everyone's thing is on this. Okay, just think what's happening in China. The number of people who've been sacked, the number of generals who've been there. There's no army headquarters there, virtually. Okay. There are no top guys there. Everything is gone. You think that fellow is interested in doing anything here? He can't. He's looking at regime survival. He's looking at many other things. So when this whole thing stabilizes, he'll wake up and say, where am I? And Iran also is very clear. See, why is Iran negotiating? We discussed this. They discussed this 3-4 days back. We said, will Russia or China come to Iran's assistance? That's what we discussed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Iran also knows nothing has come from them. Okay, so Iran has now said, okay, if I can't get help from anyone else, no one coming to my help, I have no choice but to deal with America, and I'll get the best deal out of them. So they're dealing, right? That's how it is. I don't think China can do anything in this whole story. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Your view on this, I'd like to see. Or you have any other view?
No, sir, I think I agree with you that China's hands are really tied right now. And if this supply also stops to coming into China, then they are completely dependent on Russia for their oil. And I know for a fact, the last time Russia and China tried to negotiate on which currency to buy the oil from Russia was, Putin wanted, this was before he went into Ukraine, Putin wanted euros and China wanted to give yuan. But then the Ukraine war happened. Then Putin became more and more dependent on China. China went in and modernized all their production factories of weaponry and all that. They were still in Second World War, post-Second World War technology. They pulled them kicking and screaming all the way to 2022. And that helped Russia. Initially, they faced a lot of reverses, but then they basically built them back, and that's all thanks to Chinese help. So today, where things stand is 90% of the trade between Russia and China is being done, 85% I should say, with yuan, and about 12 to 13% with ruble. Remaining is dollar, 1 to 2% is dollar. So why I'm saying all this is, Russia may think that it is not under China's umbrella, but reality tells us it's not so. Between those two, now we are also hearing the Syrian guy has gone and met with Putin in Russia. Russia wants to get back into Syria. So I don't know what exactly is the benefit, because you look at, just take 30 seconds here, Sykes-Picot agreement, where the Middle East was divided up between France and Britain. The British were very smart. They got less land but more oil. These guys got more land but no oil. Lebanon and Syria is what the French got. So why this is important is, now Russia has the same feeling here. Oh, look, these guys are just completely pushing us out of Middle East. We need to get back somewhere. So again, it is back to Syria. But long term, Russia's role in all this, how do you see that? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Look, Russia will never give up anything in the Mediterranean. It needs a Mediterranean base. And you look at the Black Sea, you look at the Bosphorus. After all, that's a strait, isn't it? The Dardanelles and the Bosphorus.
Right.
So if Russia has to have a global footprint or a footprint outside, it needs the Black Sea fleet being able to go and get into Mediterranean. If the Black Sea fleet tomorrow is bottled in, right, it needs a base outside from where it can put pressure. It's existential for Russia to have a base in, and Syria is the ideal place, was the ideal place. And now they're shifted to Libya at this point of time. Though the Kemem air base in Syria is still in Russian hands, they have not been completely thrown out. But they are non-ops at this point. They'll try to get back. That's why you see Russia was very active days of in this entire area. After all, Russia got into Egypt. Egypt, after all, was completely arms by Russia, Russian system. Go back. I'm now going to war into 67 war. So Russia has a huge stake in this whole story. Okay, and also there is a bit of history. When it was USSR, it had a lot of footprint in this area. Now Russia wants to become a superpower once again. It's got those ambitions still left. They feel it's one of the great powers. It is a great power, but economically it doesn't have heft. Military it's got, but otherwise. But Russia wants to regain everything. So Russia will never let go of bases in, the Middle East. It will also not let go of Iran. Let me tell you, in some form or the other, Russia will help Iran. And Iran will still go back to Russia. They might not go back to China. Okay, but Russia, they will go back because they're historical linkages. Like we have historical linkages with Russia. Even Iran has historical linkages with Russia. And Russia stood through them at that time. Again, people don't understand. How did Khomeini come in and take over? Khomeini didn't have that power to take over. Khomeini was brought in largely by communists.
And then they turned around and killed their communists.
That's a look. That's a different story. The communists, so right? Who were these communists? The communists were the French communists. You see, France also has had bouts of socialism in its history. So, right, and the Americans. It suited the Americans to get Khomeini and drive the Shah out because the Shah was becoming too independent. They thought they'll be able to control Khomeini through the communist story. If I go into the history of Iran, we can keep talking for the next 2 hours. Right, like first thing, second part of the revolution after Khomeini took over is 2 massacres he finished off everyone. All kinds of opposition to the thing out, mulladam in, and end of story. So if you go into this thing in a little more detail and history, a lot of things come into perspective. So Russia will always have a hand in this equation. And also, at one point of time, Russia had a border almost with Iran. You see, the Azerbaijan, Georgia, all those were part of the Russian Federation. Yeah.
Soviet Union, yeah.
Yeah, Soviet Union, the old, yes, part of the old thing. Yeah.
Also, viewers, one of the things you need to remember, even as east as I think Tajikistan and even Kazakhstan and all these stans, if you know Russian, you can get by very easily. I mean, the hang is still there of Russian language on all these kingdoms, countries, whatever you want to call them.
I've been to these stans. Russia is fully acceptable. In fact, most of the communications, everything are Moscow oriented. Most of the goods, the you go there, you want to get Russian chocolates, go to any of these stans. The supermarkets are still filled with Russian chocolates. I mean, I'm just giving you a lot of Russian items. And everything is in Russian. Everything is written in Russian.
Yes. So, General, your voice sometimes is having a bit of drop. So I'm just going to go straight to questions now. Let's just wrap this thing up quickly before things start getting worse. Yeah.
I'm on a weak internet today. I'm sorry because that's what I have. Yeah.
No worries, sir. Let's take the questions now. Viewers, no guarantee we'll be able to go through all the questions because we're going to try though. Quickly, first question. Sir, watched your recording with Mr. Helmer where you both discussed about ongoing India, EU, FTA not affecting Russia that much. But the US tariff reduction does, thought sir.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You have to understand the trade with Russia is not much. The trade with Russia is only gone up only because of oil. I'd recommend, you go to Outlook today, Kiran, and there's an article by Mr.
I read that article. Fantastic article. Yeah.
Classic article. He was our ambassador to West Germany, African Union, and Indonesia. He's a good friend of mine, and he's come on Ghana Shot many times. Read this article. He explains how this balance India has got. India has told Russia, look, we're going to reduce. And Mr. Trump has said India will get off Russian oil, but it's well understood we cannot get off Russian oil fully. It's going to be a gradual process. Okay. So it's a gradual process. And what Trump has said, his tweet is for his audience. Let him say what he wants. We will get Russian oil down, like I said, we discussed this. We can go to Venezuela. I'm looking forward to a deal between USA and Iran so that we get Iran oil. I'm being very honest. This is my national interest. Okay. Because, before this entire sanctions on Iran and all, we were getting 40% of our oil was coming from Iran. And we have good relations.
Our refineries are set up to refine that very easily. Yeah.
And want Chabahar back. They go, right? And I think we'll be able to manage it. Yeah.
Next question, again from Kiran. India-US potential deal, Iran being sorted out. Does this mean Ukraine will be sorted out? Russia wouldn't have agreed otherwise. EU silent for a while means Denmark, Greenland is sorted out. A lot of things, but it's both basically US play. Yeah.
A lot of things are happening. I don't think, we'll have to take one domino at a time. It's possible what you're saying that every domino gets falls after other. But I see something happening. I do hope the Russia-Ukraine war ends, right? Because that puts us in a safer position diplomatically. But then it really doesn't have much effect on us at this point of time. You see, Russia-Ukraine war ending means that Russian oil will somehow come into the open market. And we don't have to then, we're not obligated to Russia to buy their cheap oil through dark routes. So I think we'll see. Let's hope it ends. Right? And also remember, we need Ukrainian capability. Ukraine has got a lot of technology. A lot of our turbines, a lot of our engines for our ships, a lot of our replacements all used to come out of Ukraine. We used to, people don't know. We used to order a ship from Russia and tell them we want the Ukrainian engines. So we have a lot of access to grind in all this story. We hope that this thing finishes. Yeah.
𝗓𝗡𝗻𝗂 wants to know, sir, will Trump give Iran regime an off-ramp to save their financial assets outside Iran?
Yeah, he will. If he gets a nuclear deal, he will. I'm looking at it that way. If he gets a nuclear deal, he will give an off-ramp to Iran to come back into the market, because that's how we can keep China out. Look, again, I keep saying, don't have a doubt about it. Trump's ultimate goal is China. And I've been saying this, and I'm very clear about it and right about it.
You're being proved every day, sir. There's no doubt about it. Also remember, 𝗓𝗡𝗻𝗂, $1.2 billion is being brought in by the second son of Khamenei, who was supposed to be his successor. He has moved that money into Dubai and he has applied for Dubai citizenship. So this is already happening, my friend. Thought Provocative wants to know, could the US be behind the Balochistan unrest to further squeeze China and cut it off from Gwadar?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. US won't let Baluchistan go belly up. Like I told you, they need Baluchistan air bases to do anything against Iran. Right? But look, these things have a life of their own. Okay. BLA, I was expecting it about 2 months back. It happened 2 months later, whatever they did. But it's spectacular what has happened. I've done thing. Maybe even that we can discuss where it is going. Because the fourth day, today morning they were firing in Quetta and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, two main cities of Balochistan. So Balochistan is, at this point of time, Pakistan army, that fellow, that mullah is selling, Mullah Munir, I call him Mullah Munir. He's selling imaginary jet to imaginary armies. But his main problem is here. We could talk of it tomorrow. We'll see what...
Last question. Krishna Reddy wants to know, your opinion on all the data centers coming to India. Are we ready for it? One is electricity. The second is water. All capitals of South India are heavy prone to water scarcity.
Yeah, I agree with you. You see, as of now, who are the guys? Let me think. Who are the guys who have these data centers? Reliance and Adani. And they have put it up in a place where there's enough water available. Okay, and for the data centers, you can always take water off the sea, refine it, and use it. So,
Desalination plants. Yeah.
yeah, desalination. So they would be okay at this point of time. But without that, there's no this thing, right? And electricity, the way to go forward for increasing your electricity is nuclear. We should have no doubt.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that is how.
That will be something that we'll. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Sorry, finish your thought. See, your voice is dropping. I never know when you're done and when you're not done. Over to you.
Yeah, sorry. Because like I told you, I'm in a week with a weak internet.
Yeah.
So also the fact that, look, we have an ambitious program for nuclear power and small nuclear modular reactors and all. So if you can put a modular reactor next to a data center, things sort themselves out. But even for a nuclear center, you need water. I mean, if you see all our nuclear centers are where there's water available. And nuclear power comes out of turbines, no water again. So you need water.
My personal opinion, Krishna Reddy, much of this water scarcity in the southern states, especially not so much in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh as much as in Bengaluru and Chennai, this can be solved. These people want to keep this thing boiling so that they can make a political issue out of it. It can be solved, absolutely can be solved. This is just posturing and what can I say? If you take pressure off of Kaveri by having desalination plants along the coast where Kaveri flows into the ocean and start pumping water back on the river, there is always a possibility you can do that. General Shankar, you and I, we've been in California. I mean, I live there, but you visited there. See, there is a north-south canal between Northern California and Southern California. When you drive on the road on I-5, you will see that water is, it will go all the way up to LA. And that's a very steep climb. I think 8,000 feet it goes up, or 4,000 feet, I should say. And then it goes into the other side. My point in saying all this is, the way that canal is built, viewers, is water can be pumped from Southern California to Northern California and vice versa. So there is no reason why India can't do something like this on Kaveri. Kaveri is a very gentle slope.
No. Wait, before you this thing, these are lift systems. If you
right
from Hossainiwala in Punjab, we've got water down to Barmer, right? And at one place through the desert, we've lifted the water. Barmer, it's called the BLC, Barmer Lift Canal. There are various stages where it's lifted. So we know that we have the technology. We have the technology for it.
So they don't want to solve this problem. They don't want to solve this problem. That's it. And one time, one chief minister wants to solve it, then this goes away. So stay tuned, guys. I mean, nothing should be scarce in this land of plenty. Sir.
No, I don't think Tamil Nadu, you can solve the problem so easily. Because having lived in Tamil Nadu my entire life and seen how things have grown and water management has been done, I think they've done a good job. Because I live in it. I've seen how things have changed, right? The thing is, Tamil Nadu has only that much water. And water, the first preference for water is for the farmers, especially the Tanjavur down below, where that's the people. So if they don't give water there, then what you're saying is feasible. But fundamentally, the water is because water is there you get only during rainy season, and Tamil Nadu is in a rain shadow, and the rainy season is erratic, and so there's no reservoirs where you can store this water. So there are other issues. We'll not get into that. Okay.
Well, there were reservoirs, there were canals, and water management was there. In the 17th century. No, hear me out. The British broke it up. They nationalized water first, and that has not been undone.
I agree with you, but like I told you, I've lived in this state my entire life. I've read this. I've gone through times when we didn't have water in our house to drink also. right? Tough times. And I must tell you this, there came a day, one day in the morning when we woke up, there was no water in my house. So I still remember my children were small. My mother said, "Look, son, there's no water for anyone, including the children." So me and my wife took a few, pots. In Tamil, you call kodam, you know, and went in my. I had a Fiat car then. I took 4 kodams in my Fiat car, went around the city. Finally, at one place, I got a hand pump. My wife and I stood in a line in a slum in a hand pump and got 4 kodams of water back home. We've gone through that. And from then to now, a lot of things have changed, a lot of things have been done. But there's always scope for improvement. The problem of Tamil Nadu is it doesn't have water source. And you don't have reservoirs. The reservoirs, only that many can be created and not more. And the Britishers, incidentally, we've spoken of a thing called Telugu Ganga about 20 years back.
Right.
Telugu water from Krishna River down to Chennai and beyond. The fundamental roots of this whole thing was laid out by the Britishers. The Britishers had this thing called the Buckingham Canal. The Buckingham Canal was actually to get water from Krishna to Chennai. Then, right, part of the Buckingham Canal is still operative and it's there. It's now a drain for Chennai. It's a storm drain for Chennai. But we get it through, and this thing got stuck in Rayalaseema district of Andhra Pradesh, or in that area. That's how there were problems, and that canal could never come through. It's not as if people didn't try. People have tried, but there are limitations, natural limitations.
Even Polavaram, that was like not long ago, 10, 15 years ago, was supposed to connect from Godavari to Krishna to Penna to Chennai. It was along the coast.
No, I don't feasible. I mean, even this thing which I'm talking, Krishna, to this thing was along the coast only. Well, that's a different story. The Polavaram thing is, the Andhra story. We'll not get that.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Yeah. We can talk about water all day long. We've all been, I've lived in Chennai. I've also pumped my share of water. We had a pump in our own house in Nungambakkam. And you almost, first thing you learned was how to pump. Water was never a given. Thank you so much, sir. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good Morning India will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll do good. Yeah, thanks a lot.